Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. This podcast is sponsored by EliasRoushMedia.com, photo, video, digital media production. Today we are discussing Ozark's seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, up until season 4, part 1. So, for anyone that hasn't seen Ozark's, it's basically family gets involved in crime, drugs, money laundering, and all that type of stuff, and in between. It's very, I wouldn't even call it a dark comedy. It's much more just a drama. Very much of the same alignment of the Breaking Bad formula of kind of the standard family or family man or just full family is involved in some sort of crime, getting caught up in high level crime. And so Ozark season 1, just kind of a quick synopsis for everybody, really envelops the family into the crime syndicate of the chain of command of all the crime that is going on within the 3 or 4 seasons. So we're saying that I've watched season 1 back when it first aired in 2017, and I found it interesting, but it wasn't like super compelling. It was entertaining, but it wasn't Breaking Bad levels of intrigue. I will say that season 2, I tried so many times to get into season 2 just to kind of break through the mold, and I had heard that it was a little bit slow, but I think I tried starting season 2 about maybe 3 or 4 times before I could actually get in the rhythm of the pacing of it again. But I gotta say, around the middle half of season 2, the pacing kind of kicks up a notch, and it reinvigorates the life of the different stories of what makes each character's story compelling. Really starts around the middle of season 2, and pretty much around season 2, they kind of kick the gas up. They boost the acceleration on the pacing, and they really go full throttle with it. So, season 1 gets the family enveloped. Season 2, they're even more further into the syndicate. And then in season 3 is kind of like scrambling. It's rolling the dice of all the different characters that have originally been working with each other for the first 2 seasons and kind of remixing it in a way that's a lot more interesting. So season 3 continues to have this very compelling and interesting narrative, focusing on the birds. I don't think I've mentioned anybody that's in this, but it's Jason Bateman as the husband, playing Marty Bird, Laura Lindley as Wendy Bird, Sophia Hublitz as Charlotte, Skylar Gartner as Jonah Bird, the son, and then we have the locals. So the Birds, the main family that we're following, for everyone that has no idea what's going on in the Ozarks, the Birds are from out of town. They're from Chicago, and actually specifically Wendy is her character is from Boone, North Carolina, which is kind of cool. I actually went to university there at App State. But anyways, they are the family from out of town that is kind of getting involved in this crime syndicate. And so there is this the locals of the area. One of them is Julia Gardner, playing Ruth Langmore. We have Lisa Emery as Darlene Snell, Charlie Tahan as Wyatt Langmore, and Carson Holmes as 3 Langmore. Across a couple of many very colorful supporting cast members that are involved in Ozarks. I think that Ozarks is taking a lot from the Breaking Bad formula of the standard family getting involved in the crime syndicate, but also having the supporting cast that is so colorful and so skillful in their own realm. Now, everybody that's watched Breaking Bad, will know what I mean by the Better Call Sauls, the the lawyer of the the Breaking Bad universe and stuff like that. They kind of have the same type of fixers and whatnot and lawyers in the Ozark show as well. So there's so many different parallels you could do. You could probably have like a full matchmaking board of all the characters that are basically playing similar characters from Breaking Bad. Now, Breaking Bad's not the first mold to do it, but they're one of the best to do it. They had this, I think it was like 12 episode mold with the family spiraling kind of each season and integrating into more diverse types of crime. Ozarks does the same exact thing. So I am trying to do kind of more of a comparison with those two right now, just starting off before we talk about the actual events of what happened at the end of the season 4. So with saying that, I will say it was totally worth the ride. I think it took me about 4 days to finish 2.5 seasons, and I had no problem going through all of season 3 on a Sunday. I was hungover as balls, and I was just like, let's watch it. And I just had a fantastic time watching it. I know some of it's not the brightest material, but I do think the pacing, even though it's sitting at an hour, I would have said that season 2 should have been 40 minutes, but season 3, I didn't feel the pacing at all. I was so surprised. Normally, I would have said that an hour is too long for a Netflix show. An hour plus it's 10 episodes. That's a lot of television to watch. But see, once it got past that season 2 slump in the middle, and the dominoes started falling on one another, it really shows the colors of the show of how how this story is going to progress. So I think the easiest way to kind of cover what's happened over the past 4 seasons in a short, condensed fashion would be to kind of go by character. And so we'll go by the characters that are still alive, or at least are alive by the end of this, the beginning of the first to last episode. And so let's talk about them real quick. We will Marty Bird and Wendy Bird. Very much are the Heisenberg hive mind of the family. The problem is, with regards to kind of how Breaking Bad goes, Breaking Bad has mainly it's just Heisenberg. Mainly it's just the husband of the family. This has Marty Bird and Wendy Bird, they both have different types of sets of skills of analytical speaking and talking and being able to kind of wiggle worm their way out of situations and get people to connect in ways that make them want to have click deals and whatnot. But I will say that there is a big disconnect. I'm going to start going into spoilers for these 4 seasons starting now, so I would have expected you to have watched the past 4 seasons plus season 4 part 1 of the show. So yeah, and like I said, if you haven't watched it, I definitely would recommend it. I've waited a long time to watch it, but it's a great binge. Marty Bird and Wendy Bird are kind of like the Jekyll and Hyde of the family. They almost are clashing against each other at certain points in season 2, and then in season 3, they're actively paying a therapist to have them agree with each other. So it's like Marty's like paying the therapist an extra couple $100 so that she'll convince Wendy to do this, and then Wendy starts trying to do the same thing, and it is just a toxic ass marriage. So yeah, that's quickly dwindling. Charlotte Bird, she has a lot more to do in season 3 than season 4, in my opinion, because she's intrinsically friends with the lawyer up until the lawyer's daughter up until around the beginning of season 4, where Helen is, I think it's at the end of season 3, she's straight up just capped just like that as soon as they touch down in Mexico. And they talk to Omar Navarro, the head cartel leader. So each season, like I said, it has distributes a new set of problems that the birds have to kind of get out of, and each one of the characters has their own specification of how they can, wiggle their way out of it. The thing is, I definitely feel like the Wendy character kind of spirals things in at the beginning of season 3 for them to buy another casino, and ever since that happens, it kind of just tapers everything after that. She wants to have more longevity, she wants a legitimate businesses, I think, within the casino world and industry. And so by doing that, she wants to have like legitimate casinos. But by doing all of this, it triggered an audit, which caused the FBI to clamp down on their own casino, which they were basically counting chip by chip, which is pretty interesting how they were doing that. And they were talking about how they would watch the fluctuations per month. If there was a fluctuation of more than 19%, then there was some weird funkiness going on, possibly laundering, and so they'd have to jump on in and check that out. But yeah, I had no idea how actually casinos were managed, because I was like, I guess anybody could just go spend money, but they really go by averages and then allow like a certain amount of breakage in between. So they kind of based it off of previous models, I guess. So yeah, if someone were to go in there and drop like $50,000, if 20 different people were to do that, it would be kind of obvious. But since they're trying to go in there and they have this legitimate scheme of go in there, spend 9, keep 1 type thing. They have it all under lock until I think Wendy really pushes for this new casino, which triggers the FBI, which triggers way more of the cartel and the FBI to be involved in their life, which I don't think that Marty was ever trying to push. And so it does force the marriage to kind of separate even more. As the seasons progress, they diverge in different directions. Not to say that this has nothing to do with the actress Laura Lindley. I think that she's doing a phenomenal job. I actually think that she's carrying more of the emotional weight of this show than Jason Bateman. I generally like Jason Bateman, but his performance in this series has been kind of interesting. It's not like it's for me watching him, I'm not like, give this guy an Oscar. I think that his performance is more toned down, and that might even be worth more of a different type of award. But most of the time when you get acting awards and stuff like that, it's because you're going loud and bombastic, and you're screaming, or you're channeling this energy that I honestly think that Julia Garner is doing leaps and bounds, not better, but her performance is just phenomenal in this show, and her progression as this character of Ruth Langmore makes me want to see her in other stuff. I mean, she's clearly a movie star. She's clearly a TV star, but I mean, I guess movie star is not even like the term anymore, because once you are a streaming star, it's a different type of stardom. Like, you're still like, you're put on that movie stardom because people know your name and know that your face. Just like how all the Squid Games people got super famous just from a random show that nobody had ever heard, and then all of a sudden they see the guy and they're like, oh, that's a Squid Games guy. So Julia Garner is doing amazing work in this season 4. I mean, she's done amazing work all of the seasons, but they're giving her the most to chew on. Emotional scenes, the dramatic scenes with with Ruth in this season, I believe. High stress tests that she has to go throughout the previous seasons with the cartel and whatnot. It just gets crazy. Let's talk about Lisa Emery's Darlene Snell real quick. Lisa Emery, I I really enjoy her powerful performance. I haven't really seen too much of her in things. Uh, Looks like she's been on the acting in the acting industry for a minute. I'm seeing as far back as let's see, '05, '86, 1985 miniseries. Yeah, I haven't really even seen her on too much, but I think she's phenomenal. She's got this like really intense. Charisma's not the right word, but she's got this really intense force about her. But she's also got this very, I don't know, maternal aura about her as well too. And I think that some people might have criticism about her and her relationship with Jacob Snell, who's played by Peter Mullen, who I could listen to Peter Mullen narrate an entire book. As a matter of fact, I hope I do sometime. The dude's voice is just so soothing, and I think that I think he's Australian now that I think about it, because I remember seeing him in like Westworld or something. And is he Australian? Let me see. I don't have his information behind me, but he has a great UK. He's from the UK. Okay, sorry. So he's got a thick English accent, but I still think it's phenomenal to listen to. And when he's playing this like cowboy character, it sounds so down to earth. It's pretty interesting. I know it's a little bit extra southern, but I something about it I just like. I like that actor. I think he's been in Leftovers as well, if I can think about it. Yeah, and he was in Children of Men. I remember him in that. Let me see anything else. Jonah Bird, played by Skylar Gardner. They're trying so hard to keep this young man young. I think he was like 12 or something when the show started, and it's easily, what are we, 5 years? Yeah, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, they're doing everything they can to keep this boy young, because I think he's having to play like only 1 or 2 years above his below his age now, so they're running out of time. But yeah, I like his performance very much in this. He's doing excellent work. Not much to say except for his resentment towards his mother. Once again, the Miss Wendy Bird is getting a lot of flack for what happened to her brother Ben, which was played by what the fuck is his name? Tom Pelfrey plays Ben Davis. I remember seeing him in Iron Fist, and I was like, what is going on with this guy? But this guy is a really good actor. I think that season 3 of, yeah, it was season 3 of Ozarks, that he just has like an interesting spiral from seeing him as a substitute teacher that he gets in a fight, just can't hold a job, might be doing drugs, shows up with the family, and the family is like, we can't deal with this, on top of the FBI, the cartel, and everything in between going on. And Ben is slowly finding out more about what's going on, and he's kind of acting, honestly, he's acting pretty rational, but because he's threatening to go tell the police, and he just is a compulsive guy that you tell him what not to do, and he goes and does it. It is so it's such a struggle, and they talk about committing him, which he's been committed before, and it's like there's only so many things they could do. And so, I mean, he even goes to the cops and says, my sister works for the cartel, and when they try to hold him in the van and stuff like that, it's like Wendy realizes at a certain point that they're going to have to kill the brother, not because he can't stop acting a fool, but it's because we don't know who he's going to tell, and it's going to put everybody at risk and in danger. And so it just becomes like a hazard. and I think that Wendy gets the blunt of the blow, even though I'm pretty sure Jason Bateman, Marty was in it just as much too. But I believe Jonah is under the impression that because Helen says that Wendy was with him, that it's all majority of Wendy's fault. I don't know. So yeah, I definitely think the blame needs to be dispersed evenly, but it's also, from the crime standpoint, what were they going to do? They definitely, Ben wasn't going to stop. He wasn't going to take his meds, and the meds made him, quote unquote, lame in bed. And Ben and Ruth had this, really interesting connection. Ruth has lost so many people in her life. It's quite remarkable. From her mom, her abusive dad in season 2, and then in season 3 she loses Ben, and then season 4, we're about to talk about what happened in season 4 at the end of this. She loses fucking Wyatt. What the shite, Wyatt? Okay, so let's kind of let's wind back the clocks a little bit. So Jessica Francis Dukes plays Special Agent Maya Miller, and she clamps down on Omar Navarro, which causes the cartel's uncle's nephew to go berserk and nearly kill Marty and his lawyer, and then show up at Darlene's place right after they had their wedding, and they were trying to figure out what kind of last names they were going to have. And Ruth was trying to get Wyatt to leave so many times, but Wyatt was head over heels for this Miss Darlene Snell and Zeke, and so it cost them their life. And so Wyatt and Darlene are walking in, and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Javi's like, sit down. We told you to stop selling opioids, or what was it, opioids or heroin, sorry. And so, bam, bam, and fucking just shoots Darlene and shoots Wyatt. I was just like, holy Santa Claus. She didn't even get out any words, barely any words. And then, of course, we have Ruth's amazing reaction after that. I think the only death in her recently that she hasn't cared too much about was her dad's, Cade's, because he was an abusive ass. But yeah, seeing Ruth cry is very saddening. And unlike how Breaking Bad is, in comparison, this show's very, very dark. Just visually, tonally, and they don't have many moments of where they just alleviate the drama with any comedy. So it's times like these, seeing Ruth Langmore, having to react to yet another death. It's like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do for this one? And so I thought this one was shot probably the best. I think the camera work and the cinematography, even the blue sheen they have on the show, I feel like it kind of is reduced just a little bit in season 3, season 4 compared to season 2, because I was just like, I feel like I'm looking through a fucking Instagram filter. It's so goddamn blue. It's like, no world is this blue. But yeah, I think it's lightening up a little bit. But yeah, from the cinematography to the acting to the everything is working on all cylinders. Especially what I noticed in season 2 was there was very little or light music, in my opinion, in comparison to the majority of the season. Something compared to like a show like Euphoria, which relishes, it revels in the needle drops of the music that it plays, and almost takes advantage of the music being almost another character in the season or in the show. I feel like Ozarks doesn't really take advantage of the musical score until honestly season 3. I felt like season 2, the score was almost non-existent, and that's what kind of felt like the pacing kind of had it and stagnant, which made it feel like I don't know if this is supposed to be a tense scene, a dramatic scene, a comedic scene. I mean, obviously it wasn't a comedic scene, but I just felt like several times I was like, I need a little bit more direction on it. So, yeah, I was so surprised to see Darlene and Wyatt just get squished right at the end. Another character I really enjoyed was Kevin L. Johnson, who plays Sam Dermody, and he's just like this dopey guy that they get from, like, I think this motivating sermon, and they get him to do the like random odd jobs around the casino and around the crime syndicate that they have. Sometimes he's being a plant to gamble too much. Sometimes he's a strip club guy, and I was just like, this is some Breaking Bad shit. Like, this guy's straight off of Breaking Bad. If they would have had like 2 more characters like this guy, it would have been like way more Breaking Bad vibes. Because he's in the pressure cooker of the show. I felt like season 2 kept one steady tone and it never alleviated. It needed a lot more of this alleviation. Because we had this like FBI guy, Perry, who was like a self-hating gay narcotics providing asshole to Rachel, and he there was just so much going on in season 2 that it needed a lot more of this like Sam type character, and we only got a few scenes with him. But now I think they utilize him a lot more in season 3 and season 4 in ways that allow you to get a nice little laugh in between the high intense dramatic scenes. I wonder why Jordana Shapiro didn't join back for season 4 or season 3, season 4 of Ozarks. I don't remember her actually leaving the show at the end of season 2, but I thought she was an interesting character in the show. And then of course we got Nelson, the hitman. He's like the cliche, doesn't say anything, just gets the job done. I'm pretty sure he was in a lot of season 2 or season 3 and didn't say much to anything, just gave these looks. It'd be interesting to get paid for just looks. Oh, and Buddy. We lost Buddy, played by Harris Yulin. Damn, I didn't realize Buddy was in Ghostbusters, Clear and Present Danger, and Training Day, and Scarface. Jesus, Buddy's been in a lot of shit. Yeah, so the character Buddy Decker is another character that I really liked in season 2. He kind of brings a little bit of comedic sense to the show as well in season 1, skinny dipping naked and all that shit. But season 2, it was just written on the wall. I'd say that one of the problems with the show is a little bit of the predictability. I can kind of see, based on the characters that they're playing, I'm like, oh gosh, yep, definitely this older grandpa character, he's gonna get it, probably in a self-sacrificing way, probably gonna get it. A mobster, the head of the KC mob, oh, definitely gonna get it. I had so many bets in my head that I was like, this guy's definitely gonna get it, this guy's gonna get it. I had a feeling between Jacob and Darlene, one of them was going to get taken out because they started to have this rift between each other. And honestly, Darlene just gets to him first. I mean, Jacob was going to kill her, but she just knew it was coming, so she spiked the coffee, gave him a heart attack or something like that. So certain characters I definitely feel like add a lot of charisma, like the Buddy character, but they are playing types. They're playing almost tropes. That are really... Ben, I knew Ben was going to die. I didn't think that for a second he was going to live. Let me see anybody else. Honestly, Wilkes is a character I thought was going to get it. He has not gotten it. He's just on the... If he had a few more scenes, I think that he would probably get it. Helen, I knew that she would probably get it. I was actually surprised she was taken out as quickly as she was, but I knew that she was probably going to be taken out by the crime boss. There's just certain elements of the show that are reflective of other shows that kind of give me clues. I'm like, oh, this guy's definitely not gonna make it. Oh, they're definitely not gonna make it. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, and the preacher in season 2. There's a lot of things in season 2 that kind of go by the wayside that I didn't think that worked 100%. Like the preacher abducting Laura Wendy's character, the Wendy character. I just was like, this is way too much. Which brings upon Zeke the baby, which I feel like they instantly hate having to deal with that. Having a baby on set is very difficult, I think. So yeah, I was just like, I don't remember anything from season 1, so everything he's upset about, having his wife disappear because of the birds, kind of fell by the wayside for me, and it ultimately didn't feel consequential. There's a lot of bodies surrounding the birds. I gotta say that, specifically like the sheriff missing, Helen missing, like they're like, how are there not more cops surrounding the birds? That's one thing I'm like very in the dark about. How are they not like searching Helen's place, like on, on 10? A lot of small things, logistical things that I think that this show doesn't exactly pan out from the world point of view, that the Breaking Bad universe always felt like they went so far above and beyond of world building. It was fascinating. It was like we were seeing the minute details of what were happening in 3 states over in another show. It was pretty fascinating. And of course, we did have some flashbacks with Russ Langmore and Wyatt's character. I thought those were very touching. Honestly, Charlie Tahan as Wyatt, he really grew on me in season 3. I thought season 2 he was just kind of playing this bum. In season 3, they really do something with the character and push him in a more interesting direction. And so I really enjoyed the growth of that character, and him kind of being put with Darlene made for a very interesting story. 3, they do absolutely nothing with Carson Holmes. He's kind of more like comedic relief again. And trying to think of anything else that's happened. Damian Young as Jim. I love Jim's voice. Jim's got really, I can't even do his an impression of Jim. Jim's has got this next level deep ass voice, but really enjoy him. And Sheriff Nix, there must have been something that happened in season 1 that happened with why Sheriff Nix was working for Darlene and Jacob. He was doing everything for them, regarding just kind of keep covering their asses. And Frank Cosgrove Jr. He's a big dickhead in season 3. He's the son of the KC mob leader, and I like this actor Joseph Sikora because he plays really. He reminds me of. He reminds me of Biff from Back to the Future. And, he kind of does the 180 thing like Biff does too. You know how Biff is an asshole at some points and then all of a sudden he's nice? He kind of can do that 180 turn on that. And I think that's pretty interesting. Anything else? Yep. Casey Mob guy, played by John Bedford Lloyd. Frank Dunn. Evan George Varkuis plays Tuck. Only got a little bit of him in season 2. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I think that's just about it. Katrina Link as Claire Shaw. Claire Shaw is interesting as like kind of the head pharma lady. I'd say that there's not too much to say about her, but she does a lot with the little amounts of screen time I think she has. I definitely think that she's possibly on the chopping block. Do we want to start talking about possibilities for end of season, end of series type stuff? I'm thinking that she's possibly on the chopping block. There's going to be probably a pretty big shootout at the end. Oh, the therapist. That therapist was so fucking funny. And you knew exactly what was going to happen when Nelson walked up in there as Frank Jackson or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, I knew exactly what was gonna happen. Um, and you know what's actually funny? Tyler Chase plays Tommy, who is trying to make friends. He's the undercover agent, or he's undercover trying to mac on Helen's daughter. And the funny thing is, he basically has to play the same character in Euphoria, and it just aired. It's kind of interesting. It's like, all right, Tommy, Tyler Chase, we need you to play the exact same fucking character. Oh my goodness, but yeah. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else we need to discuss. Uh, Eric Ladden plays this like restaurant guru type famous asshole at the beginning of season 4, and he does a great job just kind of playing that character actor, kind of a little bit snooty but probably still fun to hang out with type character. And he overdoses at the beginning of this season, I believe, at the casino, which I did feel was a little contrived, just to kind of get the heat on Ruth a little bit, because I feel like every time Ruth tries to get a little bit of edge, it always fires back tremendously on her. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that we need to discuss. I think that's about it. Maybe let's do some predictions. Predictions probably revolve around. I think that they have planted a lot of seeds of Marty working for working for the FBI, and to my knowledge, like watching the show, it is very interesting to watch, like Marty kind of maneuver his ways out of sticky situations by just kind of talking. And kind of shaking hands and staring at the ground. Y'all count how many times Jason Bateman is staring at the ground when he's talking in the show. The first 4 seasons, this man's neck has to hurt from looking at the ground. He's staring at it so goddamn much. But with saying that, I don't always feel like his power of persuasion is believable. I feel like sometimes he just talks really fast, doesn't blink, has a lot of confidence in what he's saying, and then the character on the other side's like, no, I don't want to do that, and he's like, all right, well, we'll do that tomorrow. And instead of like really, I don't always feel like the conversations, excuse me, are always leveled out between the two parties. I feel like sometimes Marty's like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go over here. We're going to put the shotguns over here. We're going to put the money over here. We're going to clean it through here. We're going to put it through the bag. We're going to have 10 guys come in here to do this, take the bag out, going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and we'll have it in by tomorrow. How's that? And it's like, before you even like can think about it, he's like already got the plan out like that. So I don't know if he's exactly like a Jimmy Neutron, Heisenberg level genius, because it sounds like he's more of like an IT tech guy, because that's how he's technically getting the laundering through, because they have like these shell companies. But if it's enough that his son is kind of doing it too, I don't know exactly what makes Marty, the expert in it. If his son of like 14 can do exactly the same thing, mostly it's just his powers of persuasion. Now, I do see a little bit more with Laura Lindley's ability to communicate from like a political standpoint. I definitely see that, because Marty looks like a numbers guy in the way he acts, like a very much of a numbers guy. Laura Lindley is kind of more of the expansion of it. Not Laura Lindley, but Wendy's character is more of the expansion. But with saying that, the expansion is where the danger comes in as well. Anything else? Janet McTeer plays Helen Pierce. One, I was fascinated by Helen Pierce as just like a specimen. She's probably like a 6'1", like goddess, like very beautiful, but also super stern. And when I say like goddess, I'm not just saying from like an attractive standpoint, but I'm just talking like just larger than life type specimen. And for them to bring her in and have this, stern, confident willed person, and she's hardly under a lot of she doesn't act like she's under a lot of stress, but for the majority of it, but when she is, it's like, oh my gosh, that's intense. But when she's like trying to strong arm people, you can see how Wendy Bird is trying to mirror her in many ways as well. And so, Wendy is trying to learn from the big dogs how this is going to work. Working in the cartel and crime industry. The crime syndicate. I did see that Robin Wright directed a couple of the last couple episodes. I was pretty impressed by that. Robin Wright. I forget that she is a director now. Let me see if there's anything else I need to discuss. It was Robin Wright. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, she did the last 7, 6, and Alik Sarkoff was the director of 5. So yeah, the last couple ones were really good. I'd say all of season 4 is got all of the pieces all in the right place. There's not a wasted episode. Jump on in. The water's fine. When is the next? So the last half of season 4 is going to be released. What is it? April 29th, 2022. At least for the States. So, yeah, I'm so glad I got to binge this entire series, basically 2 through 4, in like 3 or 4 days. But I was in it. I just was ready for the next episode right after another. I didn't get tired of it. So, jump on in. The Ozark water's fine. Oddly enough, I kind of want to go visit the Ozarks because I bet the land out there is super expensive after this show. People trying to check it out, actually. Like Ruth's trailer on the lake is absolutely beautiful. I would live in that trailer on the lake. I mean, that is a nice-ass piece of land right there. That's probably like $500,000 at least. So it would be in North Carolina, honestly, with that kind of water. But yeah, beautiful views, cinematography, A1, acting, directing. I think it's all hitting on all cylinders. It's what you expect from a really good season 4 show. And what makes me even more excited is that there's a close coming. A close to the story. I don't want this thing to go on forever. If it's going on forever and not without any end in sight, that's where the problems come, where they run out of true ideas. So yeah, let me know what you thought about Ozark season 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever one you're on. We've watched them all. We've kind of covered them all. So be sure to check out patreon.com/lookitoutpodcast. You can be listening to this podcast early. You can get all of the early reviews, the retro reviews, and the full library under 3 different tiers under the Patreon. Go to LuckyDogPodcast.com for the entire library and social media plugs, the Patreon, the Discords, the Facebooks, all the links are on LuckyDogPodcast.com. Let me know what you thought about the review. Let me know how I can improve. And take it easy.